The snow fell heavier than it should have on Christmas Eve, the kind that swallowed streetlights and turned familiar roads into lonely white tunnels. Her patrol car sat crooked on the shoulder, engine dead, radio silent, breath fogging the cracked windshield. She was a police officer trained to face danger, chaos, and violence, yet in that moment she had never felt more helpless, lost, alone, and forgotten on the one night of the year meant for warmth and belonging. She stared at her gloved hands and wondered how her life had ended up here. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of humanity, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us that one small act can change everything. Her name was Claire, and Christmas had never been kind to her. She grew up bouncing between foster homes, learning early not to expect miracles or neatly wrapped happiness. She became a cop because rules made sense, because structure felt safe, and because helping others gave her life a meaning she had never found for herself. But this Christmas was different. 2 weeks earlier, her mother had passed away alone in a hospital room, the final tie to any sense of family quietly slipping away. She volunteered for the night shift because the thought of sitting alone in her apartment, surrounded by silence and blinking lights from a cheap plastic tree, felt unbearable. On patrol, she told herself she was needed, that she mattered somewhere, even if it was only on an empty stretch of road at midnight. The storm came faster than anyone expected. Snow piled up in minutes, roads closed without warning, and her GPS lost signal as the battery drained. She tried to reroute, tried to radio in, but the cold swallowed everything. When the engine sputtered and died, panic crept in, slow and icy. She wrapped her arms around herself, staring at the badge on her chest, wondering if it meant anything when no one knew where she was. The cold pressed in, not just on her skin but on her heart, amplifying every loss she had buried under duty and discipline. Miles away, in a modest house lit by mismatched Christmas lights, a single dad named Daniel was fighting a different kind of battle. He worked 2 jobs, raised his 7-year-old son alone since his wife passed years earlier, and learned to stretch every dollar and every ounce of energy. Christmas for them was simple but sincere: homemade decorations, second-hand gifts wrapped with care, and a small dinner that meant more than any feast. Daniel had taught his son that Christmas wasn't about what you received, but about who you took care of when it was hardest. That lesson had been forged through nights of exhaustion, bills stacked on the table, and moments when giving up would have been easier than pushing forward. When the power flickered and the wind howled louder, Daniel felt a familiar pull, the one that told him someone out there might need help. He bundled up, kissed his sleeping son on the forehead, and stepped outside to check the street. That was when he saw the faint glow of headlights in the distance, barely visible through the snow. Something about it didn't feel right. Against his better judgment, he grabbed a shovel, an old thermos of coffee, and trudged toward the light, each step sinking deep into the cold ground. What he found was a patrol car half buried in snow and a woman inside fighting tears she refused to let fall. Daniel didn't see a cop first. He saw a human being on the brink of breaking. He cleared the snow from the door, signaled that help had arrived, and did the only thing he knew how to do. He helped. He offered warmth, reassurance, and a way out, even though he had very little himself. With effort and patience, he guided her car just enough to make it safe, then insisted she follow him back to his house since the roads were impassable. Claire hesitated, years of training warning her against trust, but exhaustion won. She followed, heart pounding, mind racing, unsure if she was making the right decision. When she stepped into Daniel's home, the smell of simple food, the soft glow of lights, and the quiet peace of a lived-in space hit her harder than the cold ever could. His son woke up, curious and smiling, and offered her a cookie he had saved for Santa. That small gesture cracked something open inside her that had been sealed for decades. The night unfolded slowly, not with dramatic speeches or grand revelations, but with small, meaningful moments. A shared meal, a blanket offered without hesitation, laughter sparked by a child's innocent joy. Clara felt something unfamiliar settle in her chest, a sense of belonging she hadn't realized she was starving for. Daniel didn't ask questions or pry into her pain. He simply treated her like she mattered, like she was welcome, like she wasn't alone. As the storm raged outside, Clara's guard lowered. She thought about her mother, about all the Christmases spent feeling invisible, about the wall she had built to survive. Sitting there, in a stranger's home, she realized that survival wasn't the same as living. Daniel, with his tired eyes and quiet strength, embodied everything she had been missing. He had lost, struggled, and carried pain of his own, yet he still chose kindness when it cost him comfort. By morning, the roads cleared and duty called her back. Standing at the door, she felt the weight of leaving more than she expected. She returned to her patrol car not just with warmth in her body, but with something far more fragile and precious, a hope. Over the following weeks, she found herself driving past Daniel's street more often than necessary, checking in under the guise of safety. What started as gratitude slowly turned into friendship, then something deeper neither of them rushed or questioned. Claire began to see her job differently. Every call, every interaction carried new meaning. She wasn't just enforcing laws, she was protecting moments like the one that saved her. Daniel watched her grow softer, lighter, and she watched him allow himself moments of rest and joy he had long denied. His son gained another steady presence in his life, someone who showed him that family could be chosen, built, and expanded beyond blood. Months later, on another cold evening, Claire stood in uniform at Daniel's door, not because she was lost, but because she had found her way. The Christmas lights were gone, replaced by spring air. Yet the warmth remained. The storm that once trapped her had become the turning point of her life. She no longer defined herself by what she lacked, but by what she could give and receive. Just before the ending of this story, take a moment to comment below and share what kindness or second chances mean to you. Your words might inspire someone who feels just as alone as Claire once did. That Christmas had not given her gifts wrapped in paper, but something far rarer, a reminder that even in the darkest, coldest moments, light can come from the most unexpected places. One single dad with very little changed everything by choosing to care. One lost cop learned that strength doesn't mean standing alone. And somewhere between snow-covered roads and a humble home, two broken paths crossed and quietly healed each other. If this story touched your heart, moved you, or reminded you of the power of kindness, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps keep stories like this alive and reaching those who need them most.